This is probably one of the most famous shots in the picture and the most famous shot in all of silent filmmaking. This was done on stage with a fog. The camera is following him not on a dolly, but on an overhead track with a platform suspended from it. Carl Struce actually operated this shot because his camera was a Bell and Howell with an electric motor. So he didn't have to crank, and it allowed him to pan and tilt this shot. This is a lovely moment here when he comes up over the fence and the camera like dollies through the fence. I remember when I first saw this, I thought it was quite startling for the time. He comes up to the camera, pans off of him, comes around, and the camera becomes his point of view as it goes through here. There was actually a prow placed on the front of the camera platform to separate the branches here. Now, there's been some speculation that this was actually a second moon that was painted on the backdrop as a light source. We saw it at the very beginning of the shot when he comes in. I'm not exactly certain. The orientation, the way it moves around, it most likely was because the camera's moved far enough through the set that the size of the moon would have changed. And the back wall there actually is quite close. This shot, this master, which we get into some coverage here, actually lasted a lot longer. At the time, the longest piece of film that a camera could do, even though the magazines were longer, was 200 feet, because 200 feet was the longest piece of film that the racks could handle for the developing. And at the speed that the film was run, at 16 frames rather than 24 frames a second, it lasted almost 3 minutes. And Struce talks about that shot having lasted 3 minutes. Obviously, in the cut film here, it's quite a bit shorter.